it. I mean, I've tried everything. Literally everything.
Sheesh, my brother. I got you.
The HyperX Cloud 2 Wireless. Legendary comfort goes wireless.
That is comfortable.
What is going on, all you tank healers and damage dealers? I am Septilence, joined by Nuclear, to bring you the beginning of the quarterfinals here at NECC.
It's going to be an exciting quarterfinals indeed, Septilence. We got Carroll University going up against Concordia University, Nebraska. Some interesting kind of points we were talking about going into
Yeah.
this game. What are your predictions?
I realistically, I'm usually one to kind of follow the seed placement, so I definitely want to go with Carroll University probably going to take this, especially because the last time they lost was week 1. So they have 8 weeks nearly of wins across the board. And other than that, they have not lost a game. And then, you're looking at Concordia a little bit. They've got a couple of losses kind of peppered in here and there. So I think there is a possibility for Carroll to run away with this. But I know something else we talked about kind of before we came out was the 2 teams that have beaten Carroll University are 2 teams that have been beaten by Concordia. So it's kind of like this weird like power play almost.
Yeah, and it's almost like you don't know which way it's going to go in that sense. But I do want to say that Carroll did that second team. Carroll did lose week 6. So while that was 4 weeks ago,
Oh, yes. Oh,
it
yeah.
was while that was 4 weeks ago, it still is could be fresh in their heads. But both teams, what's really important coming into the playoffs is coming in with good spirits, right?
Of
And it looks
course.
like both teams have won the past couple of weeks that they've played at least. So
Yeah.
I think both are going to be coming in with a good, strong mental. And depending on where that mental is, Concordia may be able to pull the rug out from underneath Carroll. We've been in the same position at St. Ambrose with the Rocket League team being down as like the 7th seed and coming back and getting 3rd place last playoffs last season. So I'm always rooting for the underdog.
Of
I'm an
course.
underdog type of caster. So Concordia, I got to put my hat in the ring for them.
Absolutely. And I'm super excited to see, because like you said, there's definitely some potential here for this team to come back for that reverse sweep. Because it's not like it's like 2nd seed versus final seed. Like, it's 2 and 7. There's a difference there, but it's not massive, right? There's definitely a world where that 7th seed can come back. And I do think realistically that could happen here today. I know our first map is going to be Oasis, which I'm really excited about. I love those King of the Hill style, those control style maps, excuse me. As a Reinhardt player, I think they're a lot of fun. You love, it's all about that close quarters combat and kind of getting the kills more than the opponents. And I don't know. I feel it's Overwatch in its finest form to me. I really like this map style, so I'm excited to see what these teams have to offer.
Agreed. I think the sense of urgency really adds to it too. When you're on a payload style map, there's a lot more ult economy kind of based around that. All right, let's hold off. We got some time. It's a lot more strategic in that sense, but it's not as entertaining for viewers, in
Right.
my opinion, as to the brawl style. In your face, we have to win the point. We have 100 seconds basically to win point. Sort of style, and it goes by much faster. Right, payload can go on for 20-30 minutes. Whereas
Yeah.
map control usually just goes on for like 5-10 minutes. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the teams play out in that sense, because
Yeah.
you also look at the teams themselves. Some teams play stronger on payload while other teams
Right.
play stronger on King of the Hill. So looking at that and considering that going into this game, map 1 could look completely different than any of the other maps that we have coming up.
Yeah, and it's really not that rare that sometimes we see a team lose this King of the Hill map, this control map, and then go on to win the following 2 maps, because sometimes this just is not a team's forte. This simply is not their strong suit, so they kind of have to put this one to the wayside, get it out of the way, and then move forward. But moving into Oasis here, this control map, do you think we're going to see any particular team comps? Because the meta in Overwatch right now is very kind of up in the air, so I'm curious what you think we may see.
I think we'll see the Ryan Zarya on both teams. It looks like both of their tanks play the Ryan Zarya. Now, we may see a little bit of a change in DPS. It looks like both DPS on both teams are very versatile. But coming from Concordia, Nebraska, we may see the Soldier 76 Junkrat come out from Mr. Papa Bear. And if we look over at Carroll University, we'll probably see more of a Reaper Junkrat coming out from Immortal Winds. So it could be really either side.
Yeah, absolutely. And while I am a tank player, Junkrat is my favorite character in the entire game. So to see a double Junkrat come out, I think that would be a whole lot of fun. And I think that would be very interesting here, especially here on Gardens. There's not a lot of close quarters combat other than perhaps in Hookah on either side in that small hallway. But I'm curious to see if that Junkrat comes out, or they're going to rely on the legs a little bit instead. Only time will tell. I do agree, Ryan Zarya probably going to be a given here. Maybe double bubble, but that team probably loses the first fight and goes back to swap. So kind of a prediction into the future there. We see Grim Reaper and Biowolf already locking in that Ryan Zarya. Logan and Atlas, they've got some other ideas.
Yeah, some other ideas indeed. It looks like they're going to go for the in-your-face ball diva comp, which I guess could really work with the Sombra if they get the hacks on the right targets.
Yeah. Especially, if they can keep the Reinhardt hacked, if Mr. Papa Bear can do the job of that Sombra to just not let that Ryan, who no longer exists, play the game. It looks like Grim Reaper going to be swapping over to that Diva. So there it is, Ryan Zarya up against that ball Diva. I'm very curious to see if that Reinhardt's going to get to play the game. Is he constantly going to get disrupted? Is he going to get hacked? Only time will tell, but now as the floodgates have finally opened up, we see immediately, Carroll, they're going to be moving into point, but we see on the opposite side, on the high ground here, CUNE, they've got the high ground. It looks like a giant pile drive in, already 30% of that minefield minefield. It would honestly a great opportunity to knock a couple of people off the map. Looks like he's going to find it, not one, but two, I believe. Another teleport did come out from KTM to keep them alive, it seems. BioWolf was taken out, and KTM gets that Vengeance kill onto Reactions, a 5v5 with a point presence coming out a little bit stronger from Mr. Papa Bear here. Already about 35% of that EMP, and Logan already with that minefield, immortality field, immediately going to be taken out, as well as Laskardu and KTM in the lineup. Grim Reaper finds the kill with the fire strike, but a triple kill minefield. That is going to get the job done here. That is going to guarantee a first point cap for CUNE.
Wow, and I thought I was going to see Grim try to back out of the back door real quick, but he went ahead and decided to die and just wait for the respawn. Yeah, we were talking about play of the game before the fight. Last week in Week 8, Atlas did get Player of the Week, so I'm interested to see how those Diva Bombs come to play in this map, especially seeing how the synergy around Logan so far. Logan already getting his ultimate in the first fight. That was kind of wild to watch, but the ultimate economy coming out. I'm not sure why we're seeing a Mercy ult. That might be a Fat Finger coming out from Echo.
Yeah, I was thinking that same thing. I was like, that is such a weird time to try and use an ult. My goodness, Grim Reaper just goes flying in, takes out Logan, Bittervat, and KTM, picking up some kills as well. Mr. Papa Bear does find Silent, but it may already be too late for CUNE. It looks like we are going to see a turnaround from Carroll here. They've just got to pick up a couple more kills to do it. CUNE, they've already got nearly 50% on the board.
Yeah, 50% in your first take is not bad either. That's showing your dominance and holding point. And really stalling it out. You know, Logan is still racking up the time.
Oh.
You do not want that ball on point.
Yeah, looks like he's not going to make it out with his life. A fire strike from Grim Reaper does take him offline, and we see almost 5 ultimates coming out from Carroll here, so I'm very curious to see kind of which ones they choose to utilize, because so far they've really struggled on winning team fights. They really are getting lucky kind of finding an elimination early on and then cleaning up the slackers afterward. But so far, when it comes 6-6, I think we're seeing so much damage from CUNE that we're seeing Carroll University struggle a little bit.
Yeah, and they're really struggling against this ball, just peppering their backline, and the Discord orbs are coming out on all the targets that the ball is going on. So we're seeing Silent and Grim Reaper. Now Laskardu getting a kill of his own. That's a 3v6, and I do not know if CUNE is going to be able to continue this push.
Yeah, no, I think they're going to have to tuck tail and get out of here. You've got Bomb EMP, one of the strongest ultimate combos in the game. You've got Transcendence to keep you alive from that High Noon, from that Visor, perhaps the Grab as well. There are plenty of options to survive the beginning of this next fight and push in. You just need to stop getting eliminated. It's now been 3 fights in a row that somebody from CUNE gets eliminated before the fight can even happen. So it's immediately a 5v6 in favor of Carroll University. But if they can go into a full 6v6, like I said, that's where Carroll started to crumble at the beginning of the matchup.
And that's also going into their comp, right? Their comp is more of that divey comp where they have to get those pick those targets early in the fights. But if they get picked out, we're going to see the Diva Bomb come in.
EMP.
And the EMP, they're only going to find one though with Laskardu, but that is going to be one of the healers. Going to be a big turnaround. The Zen ult's going to come out on point as well. Grim Reaper trying to get a pick. We're seeing ults come out left and right at this point. BioWolf and Bittervet going to find picks on Papa Bear and Double Cup.
Yeah, a lot of ultimates were flying out. The one that really made the difference was BioWolf's Grab. Able to find 3 in the lineup after the Transcendence was already coming to a close, so it was just free damage from here on out. I think Silent popped High Noon just to reload, dump a little bit more damage into that Grab, but my goodness, that Grab was a risky one too, because Atlas was, I mean, it was shot directly into the Diva's mouth there. She just did not catch it.
Yeah, and it was unfortunate. I thought the Atlas was going to be able to catch it. 99 on the board now, and Carroll University looking to hold for the win on this first map. Logan the Fry is going to go down. We're going to see the battlefield finally come out. Earth Shatter taking out Mr. Papa Bear and pinning Echo.
Yeah,
we're going to see KTM come out, and this is probably going to be the wipe for the first map for Carroll University.
Yeah, the number 2 seed team, you know, they started off a little bit weak here in quarterfinals. They lose about 60% of that stage, and then all of a sudden they come back. They get it all the way up to 100%. They are able to take Gardens, and now we're going to be moving into either University or City Center, and I'm very excited to see either of those, because City Center might force these teams off this Ryan Zarya, but instead we are going to be moving to that University where, again, Wrecking Balls might not get that same value.
Yeah, and we could see a comp change. We could see the same comp.
Right.
I don't know if dive is going to be exactly the move here. Like you said, it's going to be more of a brawl style, trying to hold this main point in the center of University. So I think the Sombra can still work. We are going to see Mr. Papa Bear switch off to the McCree though. And now on to the Junkrat potentially. This map could go either way.
Absolutely. No shade to Mr. Papa Bear here, but with a name like that, you'd think he's a Junkrat player. I can't explain it. It just makes sense. It just works for me. I don't know. But either way, he does swap onto that Junkrats. We've got that matchup brawl, a Reaper on both sides and a Bap on both sides as well. So a couple of similarities here and there, and then a couple of differences as well. McCree versus Junk, Lucio versus Mercy, and now we're going to have to see which one of these swaps really starts to pay off. Currently in a scenario where none of the Reinhardts or Zaryas are really getting value from this distance, as well as the Reapers. So it's pretty much, can our Junkrat get a kill? Can our McCree get a kill? And now it's going to be all about that slow burn. Last time they went for the slow burn approach on the side of, on the side of Carroll, that's really when they lost that first matchup. So they want to try to find a kill as early as possible and just make it already a 5v6. But Bitter Vet going to be taken out, double taken out as well. Reaction's gone to that counter. Reaper and KTM rolling through the entirety of CUNE, able to find a double kill in the mix-up.
Yeah, and it looked like Logan the Fry dropped a little bit too early for Atlas's liking on the point. He was getting staggered, and they did have to pour a lot of resources into keeping them alive. So he backed off point, and they were just able to take it from there. Concordia really fighting to keep this first point, and we're seeing Carroll. They're doing a very strong hold on defense, holding this King of the Hills and being very comfortable in the more of a brawl style. So we're gonna have to see it pick up from CUNE if they want to take this point.
Absolutely, and they're definitely doing a great job keeping this team kind of in their back pedal.
Massive Earth Shatter coming out. High Noon to pair it up.
Yeah, Colossal Earth Shatter there with the High Noon coming out, but Silent almost biting the bullet for his efforts. Biowolf was able to pick up Atlas, and Silent does find Mr. Papa Bear. Reaction going to fall to KTM once again. Immortality Field comes out all too late and is immediately dismissed by Bitter Vet all the same. A lot of ultimates about to be online from both sides. You see, they're going to have that tire, and they're even going to commit a grab at the start of the fight. Half their team not even out of spawn, and the grab is just wasted as nobody can follow up on it. Biowolf with a grab of their own, also kind of going down the drain. They are able to pick up that elimination onto Atlas there. The team follow-up wasn't maybe as strong as they wanted. Echo now flanking around to get the res, actually finds it before being taken out by Bitter Vet, and that all Atlas can do is left shift back into spawn, and he's still not going to make it, going to get counter-charged out by Gridley.
That was the most awkward interaction I've ever seen.
I wholeheartedly agree.
They just grabbed right in front of the sign, and then they said, you know what, we're going to grab back at you. And no one really got any picks off of it. It was, they were playing around the grab and got the picks, but Carroll able to push Concordia off of point, and now at 99%, Concordia fighting for their lives, biting their teeth, trying to get in and get any percent that they can. The Earthshatter's going to come out on KTM and Laskardu. Are they going to find any picks from it, though? Atlas isn't going to be able to get anything from that charge in, leaving his backline vulnerable. They're now fighting on point for the point.
Yeah, I can already identify kind of what is going to be the weak point for CUNE. We can talk about that in just a little bit as cleanup duty does come to a close here for Carroll, and that's already Oasis. I mean, that is just blink and you miss it. That map is going to be over. Arguably one fight lost for Carroll, and then not even close to losing another one. But the weakness from CUNE, they are not focusing targets. They are not following up on the appropriate things. We saw a 3-man Earth Shatter smack in the middle of the point. No follow-up off the back of it. We saw a grab onto the main tank. No follow-up off the back of it. They have the ideology behind attacking, but they're not attacking the same targets, and that is what this game is all about.
Timing and communication, right?
Absolutely.
It's quintessential in the middle of a fight, and I think that you're actually, I think you're absolutely right in the sense that their comms are a little cluttered, and maybe it could be the jitters from playoffs. It could be the jitters of maybe everyone's just trying to speak at once, and the shot caller's not really getting out and able to call those targets effectively. So I think now in this downtime from their first map, they don't let it get to them. They sit down. Their leader pipes up and says, hey guys, we have to be calling those targets. We have to be focusing the targets at the same time. If I'm going to call an ult, it's also the capability of being ready for when the ults come out. You only got a certain amount of time after an Earth Shatter comes off. You can't just kind of sit around and twiddle your thumbs. You got to attack those targets then because they're all stunned.
Yeah, absolutely. There was definitely there were several opportunities. I'm not going to beat CUNE up the whole time, but there were several opportunities there where there's a great ultimate coming through that just didn't have the appropriate follow-up off the back of the amplification matrix as well, the shatter, the grab, so on and so forth. But we saw the exact opposite from Carroll. As soon as those ultimates came out, boom, near perfection there. There was immediate follow-up. The triple grab on Gardens comes to mind right away, of where if they were grabbed, the entire team just collapsed onto that grab and found those 3 eliminations. Won them the fight, won them the point. So if CUNE, if you're watching this, 3 minutes in the future, 3 minutes in the past, whatever, if you're watching this, just focused on targets a little bit. So many of those fights, I feel, were relatively close, but then the target focus kind of crumbled the further they got into the fight, and Carroll really got to take that and run away with it. Now it looks like we're going to be moving into what is my favorite map, if you can't tell by the background behind me, Kings Row, lovingly known as Scrims Row, a map we see very often, but it is my favorite map in the entire game. As both a Reinhardt and Junkrat player, this map is perfect for both of those.
Agreed. And as a Reinhardt main as well, I really do enjoy Kings Row, and it's a really well-designed map.
Yeah.
This is also one of those maps, like, whenever you're going into comp, I don't think I've ever heard anyone go, oh, man, Kings Row again.
Agreed.
Right? It's one of those just well-balanced maps in the game. And Scrims Row, indeed, we play this map a lot in Scrims as well. Last year, I think our team actually only lost in this map once in the entire regular season. So I am very comfortable looking at this map. I've seen this map played a lot just on my end, as well as casting. You know, it's a very commonly picked map, and it's a good one. So I'm excited to see the action that we have going into it. Carroll looking very, very strong on their defense. Once they're able to hold a point, it's very hard for CUNE to take over. Yeah. So now transitioning into more of a payload style, if we don't see CUNE call out targets, it's not going to matter for these fights. You know, you can get 2 picks and still defend payload and still be able to hold it. So CUNE, like you said earlier, going to have to really look at focusing down the targets that they need for this game and getting those picks to push in.
Yeah, absolutely. And CUNE, they're going to choose to start on the offense again. So I'm very curious to see, you know, this statistically speaking does net them a couple more fights, assuming they're just going to be pushing and losing and respawning because they are closer to the action than they would be on that control point. But Carroll, I mean, they were near flawless there on Oasis. That second map in particular, that second stage of University, they were all over it. And oh, I'm sorry, it looks like I misread the chat. So Carroll will be starting on attack. So looks like things will not be coming through quite like I expected, but either way, when CUNE gets to that attack, I think they statistically have a higher chance of winning a fight because there's more fights available, so on and so forth. And I'm also very excited to see this already. Reactions on Junkrat, Silent on Widowmaker. There's a lot of differential between what these teams are ready to bring out here.
And Lasker do on Brig with no Rhine. That's a very kind of almost arrogant play. I don't know how
I think he's going to swap. I think Grim Reaper's going to swap because look at the team. It's built to have a Reinhardt in that main tank position, and then there just isn't one. So if Grim Reaper comes out on this Wrecking Ball, I agree. That is a bold choice. Like Zarya and the Brig, the Lucio as well. Sigma does not make any more sense, Grim Reaper. This is, I mean, I guess, but this is there it is. Okay, my goodness. My goodness. I was like, this is a comp built for Reinhardt.
It's almost like looking at a puzzle and
it really is.
Piece that's not fitting, right?
You checked 3 of the 4 angles and it's just not working. You know there's a way to put it in there, you just can't find it. And now this fight already looking quite good for CUNEs. We see reactions 30% to that Rip Tire. That's going to be a great fight opener or fight winner if he's able to get it online very soon. Looks like the Silent on the Widowmaker. No luck quite yet getting on top of the theater, trying to find any value they can. Able to do so, gets a body shot onto reactions. Bitter Vet picks up the kill there. Hits EM, able to find Logan the Fry, and Grim Reaper picks up Atlas. Logan gonna get rezzed back up, but it is far too late. The rest of your team already dead. It is time to tuck tail and run CUNE because it is already all about Carroll on point A.
And man, Grim Reaper, one thing that we're not talking about is Grim Reaper is doing such a great job creating space and trusting his team as Reinhardt. He pushed the entirety of CUNE off of the point by himself. Once they lost Junk, they started backing up, and he just started swinging into him and trusted that Echo was going to keep him safe. Papa Bear taking out Bitter Vet kind of in this off pick as we're transitioning into moving the payload from point 1, chugging down to point 2 of the streets of King Row.
Yeah, listen, I really like what you said there about Grim Reaper. I think there's nothing scarier in Overwatch than a confident Reinhardt, right? So Grim Reaper knows his supports are going to keep him alive. All he has to do is walk up and hold left click, and it makes all the difference at the end of the day. But now the grab coming out, we see it not the grab coming out, the Valkyrie coming out very quickly. The grab not too far behind. There it is. The grab going to be coming out. That's going to force the beat, forces the rally as well. Here's a Rip Tire. Could be a big one, only able to find Bitter Vet in the mix up there. Grim Reaper the next to fall. Silent does find Echo, but at the price of their own life. Slowly but surely, CUNE may take this fight as well.
That had to be a lot of damage coming out to be able to get the Lucio beat and Briggs rally to kill the Lucio through both of those. So we're seeing a very, very strong Carroll coming back and not allowing it, not having it.
Yeah, they definitely do not want to allow that to happen, and the fight opener comes through Silent. And Silent but deadly, I have to make the joke, I apologize, takes Mr. Papa Bear's head clean off his shoulders. Grim Reaper with the left shift again finds Atlas, and honestly, if CUNE wants to find the weak spot here into the armor of Carroll, Grim Reaper loves that left shift. That is such an easy thing to take advantage of. And if you just have any kind of stun, you can rip that Reinhardt apart, but they just aren't able to find that quite yet.
I don't know. Laskardu's doing a pretty good job of getting in their face. I was a little skeptical going into it, having Laskardu, even as a brig on the comp with the Ryan. I feel like it's just not enough healing. But with Grim Reaper creating the space that he's doing, wow, Beowulf throwing out a grab to make sure that they can't touch point, securing that second point. This is going to be huge for the rest of the match.
Oh my. Yeah, the tempo, the momentum is all about Carroll right now. But like we said, that is kind of what we expected after such a convincing first fight win. Here comes reactions on the kill, but no! KTM with the quadruple Death Blossom just rips any hope CUNE had of holding that first corner. Just single-handedly puts that team in the ground.
And there are a few ults that can create that space in that first corner, right? Death Blossom is one of them. Atlas also had, both Atlas and Grim Reaper both have Earth Shatter. That could have been another potential there, but we're probably going to see both of them come out as we're pushing into the final point here of King's Row.
I mean, if you're Atlas, you've just got to use it, and there it is. Beowulf able to take out Papa, but the Laskardu is gone because of that shatter. Silent finds reactions in Atlas with the left shift all their own, picks up Bitterbet. The support line now gone for Carroll. They've got 4 minutes, but they may have to give this fight up. They have no support. They've got nothing, but Silent does not care if they have support. Able to take Mr. Papa Bear's head off once again. I think the 4th time here on King's Row that they have won that sniper duel. Now those two Reinhardts swinging wild at one another, and a massive 4-man grab coming through from Beowulf. KTM gets to swing right into it and just hold that left click, picking up the tank line. Immortality Field gone as well, and supports or not, so far this team is nothing short of incredible. Carroll, they win the technical 4v6 with 3 minutes and 50 seconds left on the clock.
Wow. Carroll just barreled through with that payload. It almost felt like Reinhardt was charging the back of the payload, pushing it through every point. They did not stop for a second. 3 minutes and 50 seconds. Not to be undermined, KTM did get 2 Death Blossoms that were quintessential to winning that map, both in the corner of the last push and at the very, very end. He got that Death Blossom to secure the point. We're seeing a very, very strong Carroll on payload. And man, I'm just not sure if CUNE is going to have the same raw push that Carroll did pushing through, because as we saw on the King of the Hill points, CUNE did a good job of taking the point, but then that was it. You know, holding it was an issue. So we saw the same thing with payload. You know, holding that payload and holding it down was an issue. So maybe attacking, like you said earlier, they're going to shine through a little bit more, but they have 3 minutes and 50 seconds to beat, which is a whopping amount of time.
What is Carroll doing? What do we reckon they're doing here? All crouch sneaking up past the choke. And it looks like they actually may stay. They're going to go up and around, but something tells me that CUNE might know they're over there. No, they're going to tuck tail and get back. I was very confused on what was going on there. Now, it looks like we're going to have to see Carroll. Can they hold this choke point like they want to? The wall comes up. The tanks are already cut off. Atlas, defense matrix offline, and they're not even the first to fall. We see Double Cup taken out. Atlas does find Bitterbet as well. The supports taken out on both sides. Reactions picks up Laskardu and Carroll. They have no supports already, but we saw they don't really need supports to win a fight. KTM already able to find reactions against the DMEC as well onto Atlas, and now almost halfway to that Death Blossom, and it's not even been half a minute.
Having this more of a dive comp is definitely working out for CUNE though. They went straight to point and forced Carroll to turn around and deal with the ball and the Diva that was stuck on point. And now we're seeing Logan the Fry really pushing this backline, trying to get the potential out. Silent, we're going to see switch over to May, which is going to be massive against this Diva and ball comp. And it really could save point, as we're now seeing Carroll pushing CUNE back. Even after CUNE got 2 picks, they weren't able to play around point, and now they're back to square one.
Yeah, 2 massive picks at that. They picked up the entirety of the support line onto Carroll, and then they still ended up losing that fight. So Mr. Papa Bear going to be on the Sombra, trying to force people to turn around, the very same as that Wrecking Ball was meant to do, but going to be caught out, possibly even stunned away. Did not have a translocator lined up, and not going to make it out like that. Bit of a misplay there. You always want to have a translocator going up against a team like this, because they're going to catch you if you do not. Grim Reaper coming up on that shatter, and that pivotal blizzard coming out from Silent here in just a moment. King's Row in particular super strong. This is such a close quarters map. We see players use it all the time, but Reactions finding a 3K in the mix of the bomb coming out from Atlas as well, but no follow-up quite yet, and there's that Blizzard I just talked about moments ago. Reactions picking up Biowolf of 4K in total. Papa finds KTM, and it is Silent versus the world, taken out by Atlas, and we may see a first point cap for CUNE.
Oh, we're definitely going to see a first point cap from CUNE. It looks like Carroll's going to just back off, let them have it. And I would. You know, they dumped a lot of resources into trying to get that point. We did see Logan switch off of the ball and onto the Zarya, which worked out a lot better for the team. He was able to bubble the targets he needed to get them stuck on point. And we're seeing, I don't know, man, this Carroll team is really scary this comp.
Oh, no!
Wow!
Speaking of scary. Speaking of scary, oh, KTM just teleports up and rips the DPS line to shreds there. Just immediately obliterated by a Wolf, finding a double kill, and that is a complete and technical team kill. All 6 players on the side of CUNE have fallen there. Oh, do you see where Grim Reaper's hiding, my friend?
Oh, I see where Grim Reaper's hiding. He's looking for the cheeky charge, as we like to call it.
Oh, but they're going,
They're going around.
They're going high ground.
And now he's just sitting there awkwardly twiddling his thumbs. Where they at? Wow, that's quite a point. Man, like I was saying earlier, I was scared before, now I'm terrified. This comp from Carroll is a scary comp to deal with, very up in your face. We did see Silent switch over to the McCree from the Mei, but that Mei in that mix, Mei, Reaper, Ryan, Brig is just a lot to have on you at once.
Oh!
Wow, Logan.
My goodness, Logan the Fry. I mean, the charge must be through the roof here. Currently sitting around 80 charge, able to take out both supports there. Gonna get some great luck moving forward. And CUNE desperately trying to break that King's Row kind of point 1.5, where we see cards get stalled so often. They just need to break through around the second corner and then really keep the momentum, because if they lose the fight after the second corner, that's really where it starts to dig into your time bank.
And it's already kind of digging into their time bank, right? I mean, they do have 2 minutes and 50 seconds, which is normally a lot of time, but they have 3 minutes and 50 seconds to put up with on Carroll's side. So CUNE really got to pick up the pace here and play together. What is Logan doing by himself? No one was with him.
Yeah, Logan taking out Biowolf as well, both by a fire strike from the opposing Reinhardt. There goes Grim Reaper, the next to fall, taken out by Echo on that Moira. That's such a confusing name now that Echo's a character, but Echo on the Moira there is going to get a lot of damage. We see 5 ultimates on standby coming out from CUNE. If they want to win a fight, they have the utility to do it. They just need to regroup, and there we go. One by one, they're being ripped up. Even if they lose the fight, they need to lose it quick, because they only have about 2 minutes left.
Yeah, and I think it's going back to comps, like we talked about earlier. We're just seeing a lot of very scattered, one person off by themselves, and Carroll's seeing it like wings, man. They're picking at the bones. They're doing what they can to make sure that it's a constant 5v6.
Oh no!
Rap Dragon's coming out from Logan, and that's Papa Bear's gonna take out 5 on his own. Wow, we're gonna see CUNE push to point, and that is probably gonna be second point.
I know nobody else probably cares about this, but I am now so curious who has play of the game, KTM or Papa Bear, because I think they both got 5Ks in the mix-up, and I'm very excited to see which one of them got it. KTM going to be taken out by Logan. I think he was going to go for another backline Death Blossom, but was not able to find it. Now, no matter how well CUNE does here, they cannot cap with more time. They have 2 minutes and 56 seconds. Reminder that Carroll capped with nearly 4 minutes online, so we definitely see a little bit of differential there in the timing. But Grim Reaper with a 4-man Earth Shatter, but again, no follow-up coming through, kind of going to making the same mistake as CUNE there.
Yeah, and the Earth Shatter was going to stop the Kamehameha. Oh my gosh, Papa Bear taking out KTM in mid-ult. Double Cupaline going to be able to take out Grim Reaper and Laskardu, which is really going to set the scene for this push from CUNE. Looking to make their last push here. We got 3 on point from Carroll, just trying to stop them with everything that they can. They're going to opt to back out and group up. Silent is going to be able to take out Clean, which means that they are down a support and now also down a Junkrat. This could be quintessential to pushing in for the win here for CUNE.
Absolutely. Now, Mr. Papa Bear has those dragons online once again, but they don't have a grav to boot it with, so now he's going to have to get a little bit of those kills on his own, which is much harder than just shooting into a grav where nobody can escape from those dragons. But now we see Silent with the high noon as well. We see the rally online, so it's going to be a lot of ultimates prepared. And CUNE, they've got to get this, because even if they cap at this point, only having 2 minutes compared to the 4 online for Carroll, that is a tough task.
And I don't know if it's them being adaptive or just uneasy about their comps, but we're seeing both teams make a massive transition in the way that they're playing. I mean, KTM, we're now seeing on Ashe, we've seen Logan go back and forth from Zarya to Ball. I mean, both teams are switching up comps every time they get wiped, it feels like. As we see them push in for the win here, we'll see UNE be able to take it.
Yeah, I often like to refer to that as kind of the musical chair strat, where these teams constantly just swap from hero to hero to hero, and they keep jumping around. They never really get the ult charge for it, and I completely agree. I mean, we've seen maybe 2 or 3 people are still on the same hero they started with, but other than that, almost everybody has swapped onto a new hero at least at one point or another. The minefield from Grim Reaper does help them win that fight, but CONE, they've still got 60 seconds. They've got no ultimates to work with. They're going to be pushing into nearly 3.
And that's going to be rough, especially looking at them having both an offensive and a defensive ult. Carroll in a very good position to hold this and not make this longer than they want it to be.
Absolutely. They want to make this as quick as possible here. Echo is going to find Grim Reaper already, so that DPS Moira making all the difference. Mr. Papa Bear almost taken out by KTM, but the kill actually falls onto reactions. Double Cup does find Silent with the melee kill, but the res does come through from Bitter Vet. Got quite a few cheeky reses so far. Quite a few that I did not think were going to land, but they do come out. Bob kills Atlas with just the run. Not even a bullet flies before that Reinhardt will fall. He must have been very low health at the start. 12 seconds left on the clock. You've almost got a couple of ultimates, but Mr. Papa Bear falls right before he can get those dragons, and this is a bit of a disaster here for CONE. Things looked so good for so long, but I don't think they're going to be able to recontest.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to recontest. That Bob's positioning was really good. It was really well done. It caused them to push back to that first point, and like we talked earlier, that choke right after you get to that second point is everything. So with Bob being able to push them back into that choke, it was all she wrote for Carroll. Carroll just turned the corner and was able to plow through CUNE to push them back. And like you said earlier, it is going to be Mr. Papa Bear's grab dragons that's going to take play of the game from KTM's Death Blossom.
KTM, your Death Blossom was fantastic, and I hope somebody clipped it for you. I wish it got play of the game, if I'm being honest, because I think getting a 5-man Death Blossom is a little bit harder than shooting some dragons into a bunch of people who can't move. Either way, some great plays coming out from both these teams, and CUNE really showing signs of life on King's Road. They ended up losing the map, unfortunately, but a lot closer than Oasis was. Oasis was very one-sided. Carroll took the lead. They were hyper-aggressive, and now things looking not perfect, but much better for CUNE.
Oh, 100%. Like, we saw a much stronger CUNE in that second map than we did in the first map with their defensive holds, right?
Yeah.
Even at the beginning of the map, they struggled a little bit with holding at first, but throughout the map, they were holding a little bit better. And the offense, like we talked about, was much better on their offense. Yeah. And taking the payload and pushing it. They were able to get to the third point. It was very close, like you said. They just weren't able to cap it out.
Absolutely, and I'm very excited to see kind of using this short break, what can they talk about, what can they improve, and can they come back and win map 3 to keep themselves alive in this series. But folks, we are going to be throwing into a quick break, and we'll see you right back here in a couple of minutes.
Hey man, I just can't find a comfortable headset. I mean, I've tried everything. Literally everything.
Jeez, my brother. I got you.
The HyperX Cloud 2 Wireless. Legendary comfort goes wireless.
That is comfortable.
Welcome back, all you tank sealers and damage dealers. Still Septil and still Nuclear here to bring you what could possibly be the final game between Carroll and CUNE, as it has been not as dominant a performance on Kings Row as we expected, but still Carroll has had a bit of a stranglehold on the matchup so far.
Right. But if there's one thing that we know, right, it's that we've seen reverse sweeps in the NECC before. That janitor comes through constantly. So for CUNE, they could be making a couple quick calls and making sure that he's on deck and he's ready to come in, as we are going to, it looks like, move into Volskaya Industries. What do you think? Do you think Concordia is going to be able to bring this back, or do you think it's just going to be a Carroll clean sweep 3-0?
I think it's possible. I realistically do. I gave Carroll the advantage at the beginning. I thought second seed team, they look great from what I've seen so far, and I think they've got some great opportunities here. But CUNE, they're showing signs of life, and honestly, proof is in the pudding. We talked about you need to coordinate your ultimates, you need to coordinate your attacks, but instead, they do it one time, they get a 5K. The Grab Dragons was colossal. If they're able to do things like that, just focus down their damage a little bit more, be a little bit more consistent on these targets, CUNE could really give Carroll a run for their money.
And I think that that's the issue, is picking a target quickly, because they go in to get a target picked and they're not exactly all on the same page. And because of that, Carroll just comes back and, man, we're seeing Grim Reaper come in the front line. Yeah. He's got the Brig right behind him and he's just swinging like crazy. What are you going to do against that? You can't. Who do you think you are? I am, right? He's
honestly,
right in their face. So it's hard to combat that. So unless CUNE can get those early picks into those fights, Carroll's sweeping through them, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very interested to see kind of, that usually means when a team can't focus targets, it usually means there's too many cooks in the kitchen, kind of, It usually means they've either got too many shot callers or no shot callers, and they need to be focusing on, usually people like to have that main tank in the shot call, perhaps a main support kind of secondary shot calling. So you want to have someone calling your shots. You don't want to have everybody giving their ideas, That sounds kind of mean, but it's like someone needs to be in charge to lead a successful push.
Yeah, well, if you don't have anyone in charge, you get what we're seeing, and it's just very split, kind of all over the place attacking, which is okay if you get a pick, right? That's how dive is able to work. You're able to dive along one target, get the pick, move on to the next target. But we're really seeing Carroll cause the pace of this game. They're creating the pace. Concordia is playing within that pace, instead of Concordia trying to set their own pace and playing at their own pace.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually something that we should talk about here is Carroll, they are going to be making a couple of swaps here on Volskaya Industries as well. They're going to be putting Fu in on that support line. Looks like they've locked in the Mercy already, and Immortal Winds coming in. He's going to be locked onto that Reaper. So I'm very curious to see if those two can make a positive or perhaps even a negative difference here for Carroll.
They may. They may. I'm looking to see what Logan's going to play here on the side of CUNE. He is going to switch to the Zarya, so we are going to see Ryan Zarya come out from either comp, more of that brawl style, but Reactions and Echo could do a lot of damage with the Pharmacy here.
No doubt.
We're seeing Silent and Immortal kind of not equipped with heroes to take out a Pharmacy.
Yeah, kind of the best player on the side of Carroll to deal with Afara is their Baptiste, which should not be his main focus. He is that hits cam player, but he's not going to win that damage 2v1 against a Pharmacy anytime soon. I think this Far is a fantastic pick, honestly. Reactions cannot get focused out too difficult here.
Yeah, but we are going to see Double Cup go down to Silent. That could impede the push. Oh, now we're going to see a pick from Biowolf onto Logan, and that's going to be all she wrote for CUNE. They need to look to cut their losses and get out before anyone else gets picked.
Yeah, and Biowolf and Grim Reaper, they're pushing all the way up into Spawn. They're going to be forcing this team back into their Spawn, forcing a complete and total reset here. Surprisingly, the ult charge, not that different.
Yeah, very true. The ult charge from both teams looking pretty similar, sitting around that 40 to 50% mark. Need to play around this choke here, see if we can get a pick. Atlas throwing up shield.
There's got to be a first blood in here somewhere. Somebody's got to pick something up one way or another, but all this great healing so far. All four of these supports bringing people back from the brink of death every single time. We've only seen those 2 eliminations in that initial fight. Mr. Papa Bear now swapping onto the Echo, going for that double aerial attack, going right up and over the arch, and Echo can only heal one of them. Oh, that's confusing. Now there's Echo and Echo. But Grim Reaper is going to find that charge onto Logan again, so that's going to immediately stall that push, and the Shatter comes through. Able to find 2. The counter Shatter, however, picks up 2 of its own. Grim Reaper there is is going to get a little bit cheeky with that counter shatter, and Atlas goes for that shatter as well. Nobody dies except for one person after all of that effort.
Yeah, they really should have let Grim win there, or get out there. He was purpled, he was past the choke point. They needed something to stop him, a charge, anything. If he's purple, you can't let him get out. Atlas is gonna get nanoed though and push onto point, looking to swing and create space, but he's not really hitting anyone with the swings. Grim Reaper gonna charge back. Atlas looking for a charge back of his own, but he's not gonna be able to find much. Grim Reaper's really out of proportion here. We're gonna see some picks from either side. They just gotta fight on the or fight on point though. They cannot be fighting off of point.
Absolutely. I know that I've seen this issue a couple of times with a couple of teams, is that they will win fights slowly but surely, but then they lose a minute of extra time because they weren't standing on point. Like, it really does come down to being as simple as that, but it looks like they do finally win that fight. They do get to crack through that first point. CUNE there moving toward point 2 Volskaya with 4.5 minutes on the clock.
And they put themselves in a good position here. That was a fat finger. That was definitely a fat finger, and that could be massive. Usually, the momentum carrying you into the second point, you want to win this first fight. So, Reactions blowing that ult. That was their only ult they had on the team, and now they're just going to look to build it.
Absolutely, we're going to be looking to build that as quickly as they can. Excuse me, Reactions still. No barrage going to be lined up yet. Biowolf and Grim Reaper with those ultimates as well at the ready. Grim Reaper again loves that left shift. Going to go in, not able to find any kill. Finally gets to get that swing on the top of there. I'm not sure why the shatter came out. A bit of insult to injury there onto Atlas, who was already caught in that grab. Atlas still even makes it out with his life.
I'm surprised Atlas made it out with his life right there. He got grabbed, he got shattered. Everyone wanted him. Grim Reaper, very out of position here. Are they going to be able to find the pick? This guy is slippery, I'm telling you. Grim Reaper from Carroll University slipping in and out of these front and back lines like it's nothing.
Yeah, no, this is quite a fascinating option here. Is getting in and out is a very difficult thing to do, but a lot of these players are making it seem quite easy. Here comes Atlas again with that nano just going in, gonna be able to find a double shatter. Oh, excuse me, a triple shatter. Picks up a kill on the Silent off the back of it. Now the immortality tool already gone from Bitter Vet. Double Cup was able to take it out with a little bit of damage coming out here and there. Echo now has that Valkyrie trying to keep the team alive. Reactions finds one. Bitter Vet takes out Atlas. That main tank is missing, and Echo I don't think has that res online. Here comes an amplification matrix from a bloodthirsty Baptiste, just trying to keep this point open. Fu committing that coalescence as well. A bit of a mistake coming out from Carroll here. They have used pretty much every ultimate they had.
Wow, and we're seeing CUNE had 4 or 5 around point, just hanging out, and no one was on point.
Yep,
and
around point.
Around point, right? They were around point, but they weren't on point. And because of that, Carroll is just going to be able to retake that space and push him back. And I thought they were going to win that because Reactions took out Immortal. And Immortal had his ult. He was setting up. He was ready for it. And it seemed like it was all but done. It felt like CUNE had the point, but no one was on it. So you've got to be playing on point. You can't just be playing around it. You have the comp for it, but it doesn't matter if no one's there to cap.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting because they got a tick and a half in the mix-up. You have to think, could they have gotten the other half if they were just standing on point? Again, it sounds so simple, but so many of these teams just don't do it, and that very well may have cost them a lot of their time bank. Now we see them trying to push in, trying to get an early kill again. Here comes Logan just storming into the back line, and the Nano coming out as well. Here comes this transformation. A Nano, Silent picks up the headshot onto Reactions as well, and that Death Blossom, I can only assume, is going to make an appearance rather soon. Double Cup does find Grim Reaper now lined up here, and that double Ryan meta is not going to work out very long for CUNE as that transformation will come to a close. Papa Bear finding 2, both the Mercy and the Ash. Biowolf picking up echoes of the trades back and forth, and a massive spawn advantage here for our defending team.
Immortal also on point, still has ult. He's been holding onto it for a while, but it looks like they're going to opt not to use it because they're finding the picks that they need. Once again, we're seeing a very, very split CUNE around this point. No one really able to find their footing where they want to be around the point, and they're just kind of dancing around it instead of capping, which is really unfortunate because they're finding the picks very early, right? They're coming on, they're finding an early pick, but it does not matter with 2 CP. You have to get those wipes in order to take that second point.
Absolutely, you definitely need to get those wipes, and that's the thing about 2CP, like you said, is the respawn advantage is just so aggressive for that defending team that it has to be a 3 or 4K, it has to be a 5K coming through on these players for this team to get some value of moving into this fight. We see that Pharmacy coming through, trying to get anything that they can, but all of a sudden they've got that barrage. They just don't have the numbers to get in and use it. So far, it's just constantly kill after kill coming out here in favor of our defending team.
And it's the picks. They're setting up for it, right? We're seeing Grim with these very, very cheeky charges, just setting up, getting into the back line, and then snaking his way in and out of it. Like the Grim Reaper does, right? Isn't that what he does? He comes in the still of the night, just carries memes off. So we see Reaction getting taken out by Silent. That's not going to be a good time for CUNE. They're also going to get grabbed. Silent is now on a killing spree, taking out 3 of his own. They are stopping this push in its tracks. 10 seconds left. It's looking grim for CUNE.
It absolutely is looking grim, almost single-handedly because of Grim himself. Able to find so many kills in that mix-up, and the Bob coming out from Silent, not really needed. Insult to injury there, and Volskaya first point, 65% capped, but that barrage from Reactions just did not sit well with me. Instead of going up and over or behind, that second one we saw, he stood in the doorway, basically painted a target on his face. You couldn't even miss him. He was taking up the entire doorway. You just had to fire in the direction, and Reactions just bit the bullet because of it.
And when you have that going on top of Immortal, not using Death Blossom at all, that's kind of showing the differential. You don't want there to be one, but man, ult economy is everything, especially on 2CP, because you need everything to capture that second point. You need a complete wipe. Otherwise, you get some people staggering, you get people back on point. No, you're not going to win it, right? And that's exactly what we saw from Carroll. Carroll was just able to get the picks playing around point, and they played on top of point. Concordia was looking for the picks around point, and due to the whiffed ults, they weren't able to find the picks that they really needed in order to create that pressure for the second win, or for the second capture.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And they just could not find that pressure. They could not get their footing appropriate. But Mr. Papa Bear now going to be starting on an Ashe of their own. Reaction to the Junkrat. Junkrat in particular is great for this initial choke because there's not a lot of places for the attacking team to hide. But Grim Reaper going to be back on that Reinhardt, and we have seen he's given us quite a few impressive plays on that Rhine, so I'm very curious to see if it works out well. Immortal on the Echo as well, but Mr. Papa Bear on the Ashe, are they going to be able to contest that? Only time will tell.
Yeah, they did decide to switch off the pharmacy, and I thought it would work, and I feel like it would have if the ults weren't there, but they weren't.
Yep,
and
I
man,
agree.
Carroll pushing in, not allowing any room for error, but Atlas is going to swing on Bitterbet, and they are going to be able to take him out. Vilewolf now looking to take out Logan the Fry. It's a brawl fest back and forth. Oh, now we're seeing a 4v3. Silent's going to be take out Mr. Papa Bear, and they are pushing back on point.
Oh, no way.
It's going to be everything here.
Yeah, Silent able to get 2 kills in the mix-up, just ripping the team apart, and Echo the Mercy trying to find a res, but not making it out of that one alive. I mean, we're looking at Carroll looking for a 100% speed run here, already about to cap this first point, and Logan returns. He's able to stall for a whopping 2 seconds, but he's not even going to make it out with his life, so the stall probably not worth it. A little bit more of just giving them more ult charge for this next fight.
Yeah, man, and Logan, that was kind of almost an unfortunate pathing for him. Every corner that he turned to get to point, there was someone waiting there to do some damage onto him, which doesn't really work in well in the favor of Ball, but we are going to see Grim Reaper push up by himself, not afraid at all, taking on all of CUNE right there on the front of point. We're going to see Logan fall off the map as Silent gets hit on double cup. Grim Reaper responding with a shatter of his own. This is looking very strongly in the favor of Carroll University.
It really is. Grim Reaper just caught Atlas mid-shatter. The shatter did not come out, and then Grim Reaper 180'd and shattered behind him, found 2, and Carroll, they just ripped through CUNE on Volskaya Industries there. That was something.
That was fast.
Yeah.
That was real fast. Was that Vin Diesel? Because I feel like I'm watching Fast 9.
that was very, very fast coming out from Carroll. It was fascinating. King's Row felt very almost even, but Volskaya and Oasis both very dominant in favor of Carroll University. That is their 3rd win, which does net them the win here. This is a single elimination bracket, so that will be the last of CUNE here for the season. Just a great turnaround and a phenomenal performance from Carroll here today.
Yeah, really dominant performance from Carroll,
Absolutely.
like you said, in those maps, in Oasis, and definitely in Volskaya. They just barreled through. They were not afraid, and having that confidence could really propel Carroll into the upper parts of this bracket. You know, like you said, it is single elimination. There's no room for error, and coming off of a win like this 3-0 early in the bracket has to even boost that confidence even more.
Absolutely.
So, that, man, Carroll looking very strong in these playoffs for NECC.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Honestly, just some great value all the way around. And just, I am very impressed with what we saw from Carroll. That second seed team, they show, they have earned it. They are not there on accident. They have shown us some great team comps, some great old management, some great communication, some great focus, and a whole bunch of other things. And CUNE, I said this already, I'll say it again, the potential is there. It's quite clear that either they have a shot caller who may not be, in the nicest way, may not be the best at calling the shots. Maybe people aren't listening. Maybe they don't have a shot caller at all. Maybe they have too many, but it really does boil down to that. Somebody needs to be calling those shots, because that, when CUNE was working, when the gears were all moving for that team, they looked very good. But it was just those crucial moments when you could tell they didn't have somebody in charge, so to speak, that they really started to fall apart.
Yeah, and if your the other thing is, if your shot caller dies, right?
Yeah.
You need, like you said, you need that secondary support, or you need someone there that's going to be able to pick up the flack and be able to pick up those moments. So I almost felt like when Atlas was down, or when one of the main tanks was down, when Logan was down, it would just kind of fell apart. There was no coordination that we saw to be able to get those picks, right? It was always back out, regroup. But when they're backing out, Carroll's not letting them have the space. They're still pushing into him, running straight into him, and continually getting those picks, creating that massive stagger that we would see. So I completely agree with you, Septilence. If they're able to really hone in on those communications, we could see a lot come from CUNE.
Absolutely, and there's kind of two things. The number one thing being that communication factor, but the second thing, the ult usage was very hit or miss for CUNE. We saw a couple of ultimates, especially on Volskaya, where we were both kind of like, oh, probably not your best bet to put that ultimate on there. But, those are mistakes that we all make as players. So I think CUNE, maybe putting a little bit more focus into the angles you're approaching, the ultimates you're using, and just coordination as a whole could work miracles for them. Like, they really could. They feel on the cusp of greatness. That is really what this feels like to me. Like, there's just those small micro mistakes, those mild issues, and unfortunately, that does come to a close for them here today. But we're going to throw it to a very quick break, and then we are going to interview with, I believe, Grim, the Reinhardt player from Carroll. So we'll see you in just a minute.
Hey man, I just can't find a comfortable headset. I mean, I've tried everything. Literally everything.
Jeez, my brother. I got you.
The HyperX Cloud 2 Wireless. Legendary comfort goes wireless.
That is comfortable.
What is going on, everybody, and welcome back. A 3-0 victory here for Carroll today, up against CUME, I think. I don't remember. Yeah, okay. So that's exactly what is going on. But I'm very excited to say that we are going to interview Grim, which is going to be awesome. He'll be joining us in just a minute here, and made name for himself, right? We found out during the break he's actually listed as a sub for the team, which is incredible because he was quite notably the most dominant player out there, at least in my opinion. So there's a lot that I'm excited to talk to him about. Like I said, he'll be joining us here in just a sec.
Yeah, and it was really interesting to see Sept because, like you said, he started out as a sub, but I think now he's the highest SR on the team. He's sitting around Masters and he's sitting around our chat as we hear him come in.
Okay.
Grim, how are you doing?
Oh, I don't think he's actually with us. He's in the chat, but he may be deafened or muted. I'm not completely sure. He will. Grim, feel free to interrupt me as soon as your microphone is working. I will not be upset. I would love to know that you are with us. But we are going to be interviewing we found out that his name, Grim Reaper, is actually because his last name is Grim. Nuclear knows all about that. So his name is Tyler Grim. So Tyler Grim Reaper Grim will be joining us in just a second to interview. His Discord crashed. He'll be back in a sec. That's no problem. There was quite a few unique things about him too. He's like the only person on his team that isn't a computer science or psychology major. He's the only one that's listed as a sub that played today, I think. Like it was oh no, KTM is also listed as a sub. That is shocking as well. Wow.
Yeah, very honestly. Yeah, and he played dominant today. He created that space. We talked about it. Both of you and I are Reinhardt mains, so we were able to kind of appreciate that. But it was a very massive liaison to carry his team into those fights and get those picks very early on and create a very massive presence.
Yeah.
If I swang as hard as Grim Reaper, my Discord would probably crash as often too.
Honestly, his computer is probably throttling right now trying to keep up with his super intense gameplay, but he will be hopping in here in just a couple of minutes. And if he doesn't, not the end of the world. I'm sure we will be able to talk to him at a later time. But I'm very excited to see kind of maybe to hear from him a little bit. My favorite part about the interview is getting to talk to the players in game, because we can talk about, observing the game from the outside as much as we want, but it's so awesome to hear from somebody that was in the action. They saw it firsthand. They were part of the reason their team wins, and that's always a super cool interview. But he's slowly but surely, go ahead.
I was going to say it's also about creating these storylines, right?
Absolutely.
That's what esports is. It's an experience. And so when we're able to create these storylines and give you watching the information of, he's the only exercise science major and he started as a sub and this is his dominant performance, right? Then we can kind of weave in and out of these actual individuals that make up what makes the NECC so great. And that's the colleges themselves and the players playing in the colleges.
Right, absolutely. I mean, one of my favorite things about casting is kind of, like you said, learning these stories, getting to know these players of who they are, both in-game and out of game a little bit, and getting to talk to them, kind of learning their personalities. Because for so long, you know them as, that's a Reinhardt player. But it's like, I'd love to know more things about them. I think that would be a lot of fun. This is very exciting. I'm looking forward to hopefully getting to talk to him, but hopefully these tech issues get figured out.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's only so much you can do when you're playing that well. It's like we said, it's his computer. At
least he's crashing here, though, right? Like, at least he didn't crash mid-game at any point. At least this is the time his Discord's chosen to act up a little bit, because that's always super unfortunate when a team. I've seen it before where like a team was dominating. It was like a best or a first to three. They won 2 maps, and then one of their players crashed. I think it was their main tank. They actually got reverse swept afterward. Wow. And, like, it was that one player missing that made such a huge difference. And he's here again. Grim, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Hey, there he is. Grim, I am very excited to talk to you, man. You put on an insane performance here today. And my first question for you is going to be, you're listed as a sub. Why?
So, I was actually, it's been a quite busy semester, and I actually played for a different team. So I was listed on this roster as a sub, so we can get other players in. And then I've been playing, after that season was done, I ended up stepping in. And from there, we just,
Yeah, stepping in and stepping up. I mean, it is super incredible, dominant performance all day long. And we actually, I'm sure you weren't listening to stream while you were playing, but Nuclear and myself are both also Reinhardt players. We both love him. So to see you give such an awesome performance was just amazing. My other question I wanted to ask you is, the charging in, which you did quite a lot. If you go back and watch the VOD, I comment on it quite a few times. Is that your normal play style of Ryan? Do you charge that often, or did you know you could get away with it, so you kind of did it a little bit?
No, not at all. I would definitely say that definitely wasn't my strongest performance. I was joking with the guys here that I was quite the feeder, actually. My supports bailed me out multiple times. I think my movement got me out as well. Like, the opponent Ryan was strong, but he missed his counter pins, so like it was just free. So I was just gonna keep doing it because there's a couple times I got punished, but like if I get on the back line, Reinhardt, they're dead in 2-3 swings with my fire strike. So
right. And we talk about that as well. You kind of said your supports build you out a little bit. Kings Row in particular, we talk about there's one point, I think it was Kings Row, you're purpled, you're at like 40 health, and somehow you survive. We talk about how your supports kind of like just absolutely bailed you out there. So I'm glad, I always love to hear that recognition if people can always acknowledge we are only a small part of a large team.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, and just like Septilence is saying, you were sneaky in that back line, man. Every time you charged in, it was almost like they ignored you. They were like, is he back there? I don't know. He'll get out. And you got out every time. It was kind of insane to watch. So I'm going to switch gears a little bit. You're a sophomore at Carroll University. What's it like playing on a team that's dominantly, it looks like, to be juniors?
Yeah, so we're definitely we're losing a few key pieces this year. We're losing 2. But most of the group's going to be around again, and we can just build up on that and look forward. It's a new program, been here 2 years. I joined very late last semester, so.
So you're relatively new to the program then?
Oh no, did he just crash again?
Uh-oh. I guess that was him saying yes. He is very relatively new to the program.
Yeah, from what it sounded like, he was only there for about a year. So still on his newer side of the program.
We just lost me for a second. Sorry about that.
No,
as I was saying, it was an odd story when I joined the team. I was watching actually the Carroll League team, and then the coach was like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "Oh, I play League on the side, and I play Overwatch as well." And then we just discussed, and ever since then we took flight. So that's awesome. I'm glad I did. It's a great opportunity.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Another question I had is I can ask everyone else on the team, and I'm sure that they'll give me more of an esports centric answer because a lot of your team members and mates are computer science majors. But with you being the only exercise science major on the team, what's kind of your vision for esports, if there is a vision, and where do you want to take this?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's crazy where esports has gone, and like honestly, the exercise part, like it's important for everybody on the esports side to get exercise. High blood pressure, like all that is prevalent in gamers. So like just making sure you step away from your computer. And I try to get the guys, we always joke with one of the guys, we're like, when are you going to start your body weight training? He's like, I don't have any weights.
I was going to ask if you led like a group yoga session before you guys played or anything, like any kind of, do you give your teammates like trouble for not exercising enough? Do you give them a hard time for sitting in front of their computers too long?
Honestly, I should start doing it. It'd be great. We've been working with the exercise science program here, which has been great on Joe's part. But our coach is really good about that. And we're actually getting an exercise program here for the guys here. So
that's awesome.
It'll be pretty sweet.
Cool. Yeah, so
I completely convey that sentiment as well. Even with my team at St. Ambrose, I do the same thing where I make them work out at least once a week, get that blood pumping, and make it to where they're going out. And I think it's also important to hang out as a team, right? And so when you're going out and doing physical exercise, either a run or playing basketball, it gets you out of that very high pressure environment of being in the center all the time. So completely share that sentiment, Grim.
Yeah. The team synergy is a big part in like esports, and like from me playing like actual sports, we're like it's huge. Team synergy is everything, and you can build on that like outside of actually playing the game. You don't have to be playing the game 24/7. Like you can get better in other ways, just getting to know each other and stuff like that.
What sports do you play?
I was going to ask that same thing. Yeah.
So when I was younger, I used to play everything, but high school baseball, track, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, so a man of many talents, it seems. Grim, you did a great job today. I do want to pull us back into the game for 1 second. Kind of more of a yes or no question. Are you the primary shot caller for the team?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I think that kind of showed in the gameplay a lot, especially because Reinhardt's main tanks don't usually get as lucky as I feel you would have if they weren't the shot caller. A couple of times, like we said, your supports kind of bailed you out here and there, and that means they had to know what you were going to do. So I kind of puzzled together you were probably the shot caller there.
Yeah, for sure. And then, they keep me in check, though. Like, I got to give it to them. Like, we were, I don't know if any of you caught notice, but we were going to try to hide off to the right on King's Row.
No, we did. We did.
Too bad the Junkrat was sitting at the door, but it would have been fun.
He was
Kept me in
watching
check.
live.
Oh, he knew. He knew
Oh
something.
yeah,
was
he knew.
fishy.
We were casting, and I was like, oh man, if they stay there, that Junkrat is not gonna allow it to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was something. We were talking about like what comps you guys were going to do and like what was going to happen, and I just got completely confused. I was like, where are they going? And then you just went all the way back and around, and I was like, okay, never mind. I guess none of that is actually going to happen. But okay, I want to ask you again. So King's Row, that was kind of the only map you guys were a little bit shaky on. Oasis, you lost the first fight and then didn't drop a fight after that, and then of course that third map was just all you guys all day long. But King's Row, it actually didn't come down to the wire, but got pretty close. I'm curious do you think you made any crucial mistakes that allowed that to happen, or do you think they were just maybe more comfortable on King's Row?
I think they actually punished me when I was charging in. Like, honestly, King's Row was my worst, and my team definitely bailed me out. The KTM's Reaper play really popped off in that match.
Yeah, right.
And Bio's like Zarya, where he's just like, he's constantly like throwing his bubbles into me, which is fine. But like when I'm just dying, he found the right target to protect, and from there we were just able to succeed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the King's Row, because you guys had a super strong dominant performance on your attack and things were a little bit shaky, but then the defense, the fact that you guys lost the first point, I think in an elongated first fight was quite surprising, especially because that was right after your very solid attack. So that was definitely interesting. But yeah, that definitely makes sense that I think we commented on that as well, if we were to go back and watch, that you were actually not getting as lucky toward the second half of King's Row and that you were starting to die a little bit more often.
Yeah, I definitely died a lot more on that map than I wanted to. But at the end of the day, we probably got a little bit carried away, but we'll have to keep in check the next time onto the semifinals. But hopefully we can keep it rolling.
Yeah, actually, speaking of that, moving forward, semifinals, do you feel you're going to be able to take this all the way to the end? You're the number 2 seed. You give us a super dominant performance today, and you play, not exactly flawless, but quite good all the way around. So do you think you're going to be able to take this further into semifinals?
Yeah, I think we got a strong chance here. We're pretty hyped about moving forward and what's to come. I think if we just look back at this game, take away the keynotes, and as you said, probably not get carried away since our attack went so well on King's Row. That 350 time bank looks real good. So, play a little bit more freely. Like, can they really take it to us? But Kuhn did a good job coming out and not giving up, and they actually made it close there.
Absolutely. That's the last question I had. So, Nuclear, if you have any questions.
Yeah, no, I did want to ask, with you being relatively new to the team, there was a couple of times where you guys were playing very weird support comps. I almost feel like you played Lucio Brig at one point, and that's fine, right? That works. But as a Rhine main, there's got to be some uneasiness about being on a new team and them not going a main healer on you. So, kind of, what's that confidence looking like? Kind of pulling back the curtain, and what's that? Do you kind of have that synergy with the team? You feel that is really developed enough to get you guys, propel you forward to win these NECC championship?
Yeah, I think so. There are times where we struggle with support and trying to keep them alive. I think the Lucio Brig works at times, but like you said, it's very low healing. So you either gotta like take it to them and beat them right away, because you're not going to win those long lasting fights unless you rally. So yeah, that's going to be really challenging. But I think like all together, I think we're pretty strong moving forward. We've tried to work with the supports, trying to talk compositions, but we don't really talk compositions quite yet. We just go for comfort play. So we comfort picks and just roll on through there.
Yeah,
that's and you have at this level, when you're playing as the second seed team, you need to go with comfort picks, right? You don't want to pick someone that's you're new with or you're not sure about. So really, the last thing that I have for you, Mr. Tyler Grimm, is the floor is yours. Give any shout outs that you want to shout out, any of your teammates, anyone watching at home. But yeah, floor is yours.
All right, sweet. Yeah, I thank all the guys watching me that stuck around. I know I had a couple of friends. I mean, my support line's great, and DPS, like, as a main tank, I'm not really worried about them. They're just going to shoot stuff. Like, as long as you're shooting stuff, I don't have a problem. Obviously, I'm not going to have a problem with any of the guys here. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, you guys did a super great job today, but we will let you go. Thanks for sticking around. This kind of turned into a bit of a long interview, but it was so great. We had so many questions for you. I'm glad we got to burn through all of them. But tell your whole team, we only get to talk to one of you guys, but please tell your whole team. Congratulations. You guys put on an awesome show. And thanks for joining us for the interview.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And with that, folks, that does bring game one to a close. I will be headed out for the time being. Nuclear, he is not going anywhere. He'll be joined by Infernosis in just a little bit here. We've got a whole bunch of games going up until, I believe, 11 p.m. EST. So it's going to be a whole long day of Overwatch. You guys are not going to want to miss it. Drop a follow on the channel if you want to be up to date and see what's going on with us going live in the future, so on and so forth. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching. Thank you, both teams. We'll be back in just a little bit with a second game. We'll see you soon.
Hey man, I just can't find a comfortable headset. I mean, I've tried everything. Literally everything.
Jeez, my brother. I got you.
The HyperX Cloud 2 Wireless. Legendary comfort goes wireless.
That is comfortable.